thank you for joining us for part two of today's DeMatha Zoom Hour. Now with our second guest of the afternoon, Mr. Vaughn Holsey. Vaughn's been an art teacher and chair of the Fine Arts Department here at DeMatha since 1992. He received his MA in art education from George Washington University, and along with his teaching duties is the moderator of the school's art club, ping pong club, and the Black Student Union. Mr. Holsey coordinates the highly successful annual art and photography exhibit, and his style of artwork over the years has gone from abstract to genre painting and a variety of different styles. Mr. Holsey has exhibited his artwork all over the metropolitan area, especially in Montgomery County. And in 1990, 8 of his paintings were featured in the Montgomery County Executive Office Building for Black History Month. And Vaughn has also painted murals in 7 schools over the last 20 years. Currently at DeMatha, Mr. Holsey teaches fundamental art, painting, advanced art, drawing, and digital photography. Previously taught ceramics, as well as previously served as coach of the JV football and JV golf team. And in 2017, Mr. Holsey was honored for his 25 years of service to DeMatha. Former colleague, Mrs. Julie Pendorf, remarked, quote, "DeMatha is imprinted with the work of Vaughn Holsey, and the school reflects that daily. He has inspired us to live our lives, seeing the beauty that God has painted into them." And a former student also remarked, quote, "Mr. Holsey is a man who loves his job. He brought me back into the art world and taught me that everything is art and that everything is a gift from God." So Vaughn, thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it. First of all, how you holding through in this pandemic?
Well, I'm doing like everybody else, trying to stay alive, but more importantly, looking out for others, trying to do the right thing for God as well as for family and people around you. Just trying to love everybody and make everybody feel good on the process.
So Vaughn, you've been at DeMatha 29 years, I believe now. So how did you first hear about DeMatha, and what made you want to? What brought you here to start working at DeMatha?
Believe it or not, unbeknown to me, when I was in school back in '91 at Bowie State, working on the second degree, my school advisor had recommended me for the job without me knowing. His name had to be Clark Mester. He happened to be in the DeMatha alumni class of '65. And to my advice, it's amazing. I knew him for a while, but had no clue about the relationship between him and the school, and that he was a DeMatha grad. And at that time, I really didn't know much about DeMatha. But I came in for an interview 2 months after we talked about it, met Mr. John Morley and Coach McGregor, and went through the interview process, thinking I was going to come here and stay for 2 years and then leave. But unfortunately, here it is, 29 years later, I'm still here at DeMatha. So I would lie to Mr. Clark Mester for sending me here to DeMatha.
Great. Now, Holsey, so you've taught many art courses over your 29 years. So fundamentals of art, and color, advanced art, digital photography, and ceramics, just to name a few. Now, is there a specific course maybe that you enjoy teaching the most? And if so, why? Why that course?
I would say actually advanced art, which is an independent study course for juniors or seniors who have taken the fundamentals, drawing, painting, ceramics, art history. And those are the gentlemen who actually look forward to going to college and major in art in some field, some form of field of art, whether it be photography, graphic design, painting, or drawing, or just becoming an educator, becoming a teacher. So those the more advanced students who are really committed to the field. So that would be the one that I enjoy most. But outside of that, painting would be the next. I love to paint, so that's what I do. So that would be where I would fall in.
Yeah, at this point, we'd like to open up the floor to everybody in the audience if they want to ask a question to Mr. Holsey. If you do, you can use the sidebar Zoom chat option here. Just include your question with your name and if you graduated from DeMatha your year, so then we can relay it on to Mr. Holsey. Vaughn, what sparked your interest overall in art growing up? Obviously, you have a huge passion. You continue to spread that passion to DeMatha students throughout the years. What got you into art growing up?
I would actually go back to elementary school. I was a little kid and I had a tutor in first grade, and actually she couldn't get me to do what I needed to do. She gave me a canvas and paintbrush, and unbeknown to me, my oldest brother, who's now deceased, Herbert Holsey, he was also into art, and so I was influenced by my big brother. But that teacher that I had as early as first grade motivated me, and I've actually been doing artwork and painting ever since then. So all my life, pretty much.
That's awesome. And so you've been in DeMatha 29 years now. Do Obviously, over at the school, you recently finished the hallway mural leading into the antler room, the cafeteria. That was a long undertaking. Can you kind of describe that process? Because there's a bunch of different murals, a bunch of different paintings going on. How long did that process take you?
That mural probably took over a year from start to finish. It involved at least 40 staff members and students here at the school. The mural represents the service that we provide throughout the country and all over the world when we travel. So it's really just an introduction of what we do here at DeMatha. The title of the mural is called "We Live to Serve," and we try to show that through the mural by some of the things that we incorporated in it.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Yeah, as an artist, you've done many paintings and portraits. Do you have a favorite piece of art, and or a painting maybe that you're most proud of?
Well, right now, it was seen at my when I did my thesis show at Georgetown, GW, I had it on display. It's called Dreamscape. It's about a dream that I had almost 20 years ago now. It's similar to Thomas Cole's The Voyage of Life. In my Dreamscape, it really talks about some of the experiences I had. At the time I had the dream, I had no idea where I was going with this, but as I got to it and got really not finished yet, I'm still working on it. It's an ongoing project. It's got to do with 7 panels and 7 scenes. I want to talk about it, but it would take too long today. But just the introduction of it is really talking about my life, my journey that I've had and continue to have.
Vaughn, we got a question here from Tim Kelly. He teaches a course now called Fleri of Knowledge in Fairfax County, where the class looks at the unique purposes and methods of different disciplines, including art. So he wanted to ask you what's special and unique about art as a way of thinking about, experiencing, and communicating about the world. And what do students experience in DeMatha's art classes that they might not experience in other subjects?
First thing they experience in the art class is myself. I'll keep it real with the students. I'll talk to them about every aspect of life, especially we hear young men. But to answer his question, what they get here at DeMatha and what they should get everywhere they go in the art world is that art, one of my students just asked me yesterday, why do I feel that art's so important? Well, art is the most important subject here at DeMatha. Because without art, you have nothing, absolutely nothing. You take art out of every subject and see what you have left over. What we know about history today is through art. If you study any history, any aspect of history, you will see that art is the main part of the course that actually helps explain and express and show what has happened throughout history, whether it be a war, whether it be a music, whether it be any aspect of our lives, art is everywhere. And as I've been telling the students, back in '95, I was given a pamphlet written by Pope John Paul II. Without art, we literally have nothing.
That's great, Holsey. Next question from Patrick Quill. He's class of 2000. He says, Mr. Holsey, what is your current painting style like now?
Wow. Well, first of all, I want to say hello to Patrick. Man, I've been missing you, dude. Been missing you very much. I want to see you up here at the school and part of the art show and everything that goes on here at the school. At this moment, I know it's not answering the question, but I'm trying to organize the DeMatha Alumni Art Association. So give me a call, send me a text message or an email, either way. But
anything you need, Holsey, I'm in.
Hey, look, I still got your stuff up. I still talk about you every day to the students.
Oh,
about a young man who really turned my life around here at DeMatha. So thank you. Thank you very much.
No, man, you're the best. I'm glad I
got you as the number 1, number 2 best here since I've been here. It's 2 students. I want you to meet this other young man who graduated 6 years after you.
Okay.
Very similar in style. What's your question again?
I just want to know, like, what's your style now? Because when we,
it goes back and forth. I do a lot of abstract stuff, but I try not to do too many portraits because people are very picky. But I still do portraits. But I'm doing my thing. Whatever floats my boat, whatever makes me feel good. If people like my art, they buy it. If they don't like it, so be it. But I'm trying to really experiment with every aspect. Still doing illustrations. I'm doing a lot of book illustration designs. But painting is still my favorite. So I would say I do everything. Abstract. If I had to pick one particular style, of art that I really like to do would have to be landscape painting. I grew up on the golf course, so I love nature. Anything associated with nature, whether it be oil painting, no matter what the medium is, watercolor, acrylic, I love it all.
That's awesome.
At this collage work it's a little faster than other things, but it's also another medium that mixed media with photos and illustrations in the combo. And how you doing, young man? How about yourself?
Got a question from a
Yeah.
it looks like he's a parent of a class of 2023 student. He wants to know, how do you keep it fresh and up to date in your classes? And is there technical art classes that you may take to keep your skills sharp? Any continuing education or seminars that you take so that you're able to keep things fresh with your students?
Well, I'm constantly taking classes, whether it be at local schools or going to workshops in the summertime. Over the past, say, 10 years, I have gone to 9 different colleges doing seminars and workshops. And in the master's program, I was at Mike up in Baltimore, then to Corcoran, and then finished up at GW. But this contemporary era, I've learned a lot about contemporary art and how we can look more at everything as art, and everything is art, but how everything is used and how everything had to be designed and created first by artists, no matter what it is. I mean, the only thing I can say that artists have not created is what God has created, and that's nature. And we have taken what God has given us and converted it and transformed it into creations.
Great, Holsey. Now, was there a specific maybe faculty member or staff member, or even maybe a student that's had the biggest impact for you throughout your time at DeMatha? Maybe when you first got here, there was someone that you looked up to, or maybe someone that kind of shaped the way you do things. And was there a specific that did this for you?
This is a great question, because I even thought, not knowing that you were going to ask it, I thought about this. I said, if he asked me this question, who has touched me? Well, I'm going to go back to my beginning, and it was several people. I'm going to name them. Ray Smith, who's a math teacher and also a golf coach here. He was unbelievable. He had open arms for me, even though he had nothing to do with art, and he was just his personality. And then there was, of course, Buck Offit. We talked about plants and nature all the time. We had a good relationship. Coach Wooten has influenced everybody, including myself. I would like to say this to the people out there listening. There's a trivia question that I'm throwing out there to everybody. I'm probably the only artist in the Basketball Hall of Fame, because when Coach Wooten got inducted, they took my artwork on his basketball that was given to him and put it in the Hall of Fame. So if you ever visit that Hall of Fame, look for my name on that basketball in that showcase. And then, of course, Tony Photos, who the art center is named after. He was my mentor from day one. I'm still in touch with him. He's a great friend. But overall, all those senior teachers and people who will maybe not be with us anymore. Coach McGregor, who's still here. He was one of the gentlemen in the interview process when I got hired, because I used to coach football. And then, of course, John Moreland. He opened his arms are wide open. But and I can't forget Rich Macheski. What I learned from Rich, I would say I watched him from a distance, but what he does and how he entertains his students, I think I borrowed some of that. And so I like to entertain my students, take their minds off of what they're doing, and this way they focus a little more without even realizing it.
Well, in 29 years, yeah, it's a long time for any of us. It's a long time to spend, especially at one place. What's made you want to stay at DeMatha? And what, in your opinion, makes DeMatha different from all the other high schools in the country?
Well, as the saying is, there's only one DeMatha, but to me, the most important thing is the freedom to talk about religion and talk about the importance of the relationship between God and man and of humanity, the freedom to speak your mind and also teach what you want to teach without anybody standing over you telling you what you have to do. I remember when I first started teaching, it was into my 3rd year, and I was wondering, when am I going to be evaluated? And I went to Mr. Mullen, and he said, you're doing a great job. Believe me, I may not have been over to check on you, but I know you're doing a great job, because I can tell by the result of the work the kids are producing. So, just having faith and trust in that I do, as well as the other teachers, that we are doing the best we can. We all strive for the best. And so I would say, just having that freedom, mostly to do your job, but also to talk about God in your classroom 24/7.
Great, Jose. That's awesome. Now, so if I'm not mistaken, in your early years, your artwork was mainly abstract, and then you kind of switched to genre painting. depicting everyday scenes. Could you maybe just talk about, the difference between those two styles of art and why you changed?
Well, right now I'm doing a project with all my students. We almost finished. It got to do with abstract because abstract allows you to be free and gives you a chance to kind of just explore the medium, whatever medium it is that you're working in. You can just kind of do your thing. It doesn't really have any idea. I mean, when you start out, you just kind of look at what you're doing. And so you get to experiment a little more because, can't nobody tell you, well, that doesn't look right. Nobody knows what it is. How's it supposed to look right when it's your creation? And compared to that and the other genres dealing with natural observation, when you think about portraits, people want to look like people. Sometimes people want to have you make them look better than they are. But you think about Norman Rockwell, what he did with his work. I think when he talk about genre of everyday objects and everyday scenery, his illustrations dealt with every part of our life, whether it be a Thanksgiving dinner or a walk down the street or a walk in the park. So the difference is the reality of realistic things versus the abstractness of things that we come out of our minds and creations that we may dream about or think about, the surrealist aspect of surrealism. But, I love both styles. It's just a matter of what mood you're in.
This could become a broad question. So I'm going to warn you in advance here, but do you have a favorite memory or two during your...
I couldn't hear you too good. What was that?
During your 29 years here at DeMatha, Vaughn, and this is kind of a broad question, do you have a favorite memory or two that sticks out?
Oh, memory. Well, I got a lot of different memories. So I had to think of a favorite one. It's very difficult to come up with. But, the one that sticks in my mind the closest right now is the 25th anniversary of my career here at DeMatha, having my family and friends come to the presentation that we had, the dinner. And I think about, just reflecting that night, having to reflect on the 25 years prior to that evening. It kind of accumulated everything that had happened from the day I came here until that day. So that memory right now sticks in my head fresh, but there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been working on a book for 30 years prior to coming to DeMatha. And for those people who are waiting for it, I don't know when it's going to get finished. Only God knows. And that will tell you a whole lot of stories. I love telling stories, but I can't give you one good memory, but I'll give you one about a football game more than anything. As a coach, we had a fourth and 11, and who takes a 4th and 11? Well, the team was 4-0, and we were 0-4. I was coaching the JV, and I made that call, and we got the first down, ended up winning the game. But then there was a game we had to go to down in Strasburg, Virginia, playing Brook Point. They whipped our behinds the first game. We went back the next game and beat them. And it was a freshman JV team playing a varsity team, but there was a new school. But there's a lot of stories, some good and some bad. But overall, I have a special moment. My youngest son graduated from here in 2018. That's a very special. Then my nephew graduated from DeMatha in 2011. So watching and giving them the diploma has been very special. And I plan on being here for a long time. I got a couple grandsons now.
Now, Jose, I got one more question for you. I had the pleasure of having you in our class and have your friendship now as a coworker here at DeMatha. But this is kind of always been in my mind. What kind of sparked your interest in becoming an art teacher? Like, I know you were an athlete growing up, but was there like a specific moment that kind of clicked in your head that was like, I think I'm born to be an artist or to teach art? Was there like a aha moment or something that maybe came up?
It was 1989. I've always been doing art all my life, so it wasn't the point that I wanted to do art. But what the question is, when I decided to really want to become a teacher. When in '89, I actually had the opportunity to coach football at Winston Churchill High School, where I graduated from in '77. And my high school coach, Fred Shepard, had contacted me and asked me, could I be interested in helping him out with JV team that year. That just happened to be the first year that the public school system had 9th graders. It used to be 10, 11, and 12, and 9th graders used to be in junior high. Well, to my surprise, the very first day on the football field, 120 kids showed up to play JV football. But I ended up having a great time and had a wonderful time, such a wonderful time. That's when I thought maybe I can combine coaching and teaching art. And I decided to quit my job at the time with the city of Rockville and go back to school. And the rest has been history. When I was back in school is when I met Clark Master, who sent me to DeMatha. But just being able to combine sports and art together. And a lot of our athletes are doing that here at DeMatha. Some going into professional football career and then finishing up, going into the art world. So it's been great to be able to have, be at a great school with sports, but at the same time, show those athletes that they can do other things other than play those sports.
Vaughn, last question here from our end. You talked about the impact that, working at DeMatha and just DeMatha as a whole has had on you. So give us a sense of what are some future projects you're currently working on right now?
Outside of this book that I've been working on for 30 years, art, there's always another project in the art world. I mean, you finish one, you got 2 or 3 on the table. Here at DeMatha, I have a dream, another thought of painting a huge outside mural that's going to tell the story of St. John DeMatha. I got a location in space. It's just a matter of timing when it's going to happen. It's going to have to happen in the spring when we do it. But it's, DeMatha has been here for a while, but now we just happened to be in the smack in the middle of the Hyattsville Art District, the PG County Art District. But we were here, so they actually joined us. But we want to participate. It takes time to really organize and plan big projects that's going to be on permanent display for a long time. So I want to make sure it's right when we do it. But I would love, my goal is I'm throwing hits out there. I want some of the alumni, when I get this alumni association, I want this whole project to be done by alumni to show the current students, these are the guys who graduated from DeMatha, went through DeMatha, and here they are and practicing art or whatever area of art that they're practicing, but they're coming back to give back and also show the world who we are. I mean, to continue to show that one DeMatha spirit and growth through art, as well as other things that we do.
All right, so hear that DeMatha community. If you want to contribute to DeMatha Art Alumni Association, email Vaughn at vholsey, HOLSEY @dematha.org. And we're going to keep getting these numbers up because I think it's a great thing. There's a lot of talented alumni here at DeMatha, and especially in the arts. Definitely something we want to continue to showcase. Vaughn, thank you.
Can I have one closing remark?
Yep, absolutely.
This is a message to all the alumni that may be out there listening. I want you to spread this word. I've been searching and looking at you guys, your portfolios and everything else, but some of you guys are missing when you go back and look at where you got your start. Not that you got your start here with me, but mention your high school. Do that for us. That's all I'm asking. Mention the name. Look at your bio and make sure you go beyond your college career, but what high school did you go from? Just let people know where you went. Tim Kelly, man, I love you. I miss you. Come on back home.
Vaughn, I think that's a great way to end this. Thanks again, Vaughn, for joining us. Thank you for everybody here for joining us, for Vaughn and for Seamus today. And Vaughn, we'll see you around campus, and hopefully when the pandemic ends, we'll get a lot more of these alums coming to revisit you on campus and just campus as a whole. So Vaughn, thanks again, and thanks again everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice seeing you, Pat.
You too, Holsey. I'll reach out to you.
Thanks very much. All right, Tim.